the greater good.
Hey everybody, Greater Good Mining here. I'm assuming you're here to check out how I fare with the KS0 Pro overclocking that I got from T-Swift. So if you like that kind of content, you're going to have to check out all my other videos. Look what I've got here. We got thermal paste replacement on Iceriver KS0 ASICs, overclocking all over the place, tons of crypto content in general. So if you like that kind of thing, consider hitting the like button and subscribing to my channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So I've got my KS0 Pro here, and I'm going to show you baseline what I've been getting, because today I'm going to overclock it and do some testing and optimization. So right now I'm getting 200 gigahash at about 93 watts. That's including the USB fan that's running off the USB port off the KS0 Pro. There's my 180 watt power supply. That's fine for the KS0 Pro, but for the overclocked KS0 Pro, you're going to need a little more serious stuff than a USB fan and the 180 watt power supply. So what I've got here is the AXIAL 1238. It's an AC Infinity fan. I'm going to leave links in the description for this, and that way you can purchase one too, or something like it. You will need extra airflow to cool the overclocked KS0 Pro. It kicks off a lot more heat. Now, also, you are going to need a beefier power supply. This one is beefy. It's 240 watts. I will leave a link in the description for the power supply that I'm using as well. So without any other fluff, I'm going to just go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to show you in the web GUI the hash rate that I'm getting and the temperatures, and then we're going to start overclocking this thing. Let's go for it. Okay, here we are in the web GUI for the Iceriver KS0 Pro, and we're getting 204 gig hash on the 30-minute hash rate. It's been running about 40 minutes since I moved it so I could do the testing. 0% rejection rate at the pool, and let's go ahead and check out the fans. Okay, the fans are in auto mode and they are at 50%, and I want to know after 40 minutes at 50% how my temperatures are looking so we can compare before and after. Let's check that out too. Okay, so you might have seen in some of my other videos talking about the KS0 Pro how the temp 1 and temp 2 are juxtaposed. Usually temp 2 is the exhaust side. So anyway, the exhaust temperature here is 58 degrees Celsius. That's where the Iceriver KS0 Pro auto fans seem to love to land. It's around 60 degrees. That's where the auto fans are kind of set to moderate the temperature too, as far as the exhaust. That's what I've noticed. And then intake temps are 41 degrees. And let's go ahead and, now that we got our baseline, let's go ahead and look at the overclocks and how to get them from T-Swift and how to do it in general. Let's go for it. In order to get a hold of T-Swift, what you need to do is join my Discord. I'll leave a invite link in the description of this video, and then go to my GGM Trusted Seller section in my server and click on it right there. And then you can actually just click right here on T-Swift's name. Then you know you're talking to the real T-Swift. Be careful, because there's scammers out there, and if you want to know for sure that you're talking to real T-Swift, join my Discord, go to the Trusted Seller section, click on this that I just showed you, and then boom, you can even message T-Swift right here. So DM T-Swift in my Discord for the overclocks for any of the Icerivers, actually, except for the KS3M. You can overclock all of them except for the KS3M, and he will send you a file. I'll show you the file in a second. If you do DM T-Swift to buy ASICs or get the overclocks, if you could do me a favor and tell him Greater Good Mining sent you, it helps out the channel if you do that. All right, anyway, so let's go ahead and open up the files that he sent me, and I'll show you how to apply the overclocks to the KS0 Pro. Okay, so you joined my Discord, you DM'd T-Swift, you paid him the 600 Kaspa that at this moment he's asking for. This is December 9th, and the prices might change, and things might change. So keep up with my channel and join my Discord, and you'll be first to know what's going on with these overclocks. So you paid him the 600 Kaspa, which is at the time of filming about $75, and you got this file from T-Swift right here. Click on it to download it and extract the files into a folder of your choice. And once you've downloaded the files, extract them, and you're going to see a bunch of different files. But in this case, the most important one to start with is the README file. This is where you will get important instructions. I'm going to read them off to you right now. Very important, unscrew and remove both of the thin side panels of the machine where the Ethernet and power connections are to ensure that airflow can pass through the internal parts of the machine. It is also recommended to have an additional fan or airflow pushing air through the side openings. Let's go ahead and do that right now so we're prepared once we apply the overclocks. It's pretty easy. We're just going to remove these screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I've got the side panels off on each side, and I was originally planning on turning the KS0 Pro on its side for cooling, but I don't really like the way this fan is lining up. If you saw in my KS0 Pro arrival video, and I'll show you here, the heatsink seems to be more in the center, at least not the heatsink, but the holes seem to be in the center, and I'm trying to look inside and see kind of where the chips line up, and I'm assuming the heatsink is kind of more in the center of the KS0 Pro. So I'm going to actually, for now, leave the KS0 Pro just slightly elevated here, because with this fan just sitting here, it lines up perfectly with the middle, and I want to make sure that I have concentrated airflow over the ASIC chips and the board, the hash board. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it kind of like how you see it here with my little rubber feet underneath. I don't know if I've showed you this, probably in other videos I did. Actually I did. So if you want to do it this way, you can get these off Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description for these little rubber feet too. That way it keeps it slightly elevated so the fans are getting airflow underneath the internal fans. I'll kick those up to 100%, that's in the instructions. And then that way also, like I said, the AC Infinity Fan, the AXIAL 1238, that's pretty powerful, will aim perfectly right into the middle of the ASIC and flow right over the boards. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the USB fan plugged in as well, and I'm gonna use it more like an exhaust fan on the other side to just make sure that I've got air flowing in, air flowing out. I just want to make sure that everything stays nice and cool and that I don't have any problems with overheating. So anyway, let's go ahead and test to see how much wattage this fan takes on its own. Okay, my AXIAL Infinity 1238 is cranked up and it's pulling about 23 watts and it moves some serious air. It is blasting out the side of this thing, so I am pretty confident that this amount of airflow through the ASIC with my little USB fan that I already have on the other side pulling even more air out and over the top of it should be enough. So let's go ahead and test this out. Let's go ahead and get the overclock running and we'll follow the instructions. I'll read them off to you and that way there's no mistakes. So T-Swift says here that there's a 280 gigahash KS0 Pro overclock, 600 Kaspa per machine. It should be about 140 watts or so. And the 270 and 260 firmware versions are also included, both low and high voltage options for each one. So you needed at least a 180 watt power supply. I bought the 240 power supply because I know that he's also working on a 360 gigahash overclock. So I'll get into that in a second. And we've already talked about the fans. Make sure you've got a powerful fan and do exactly kind of like what I showed you, or you can come up with your own airflow solution. There's tons of ways to do it. Just make sure you got great concentrated airflow over the ASIC. T-Swift goes on to say that they had an 360 gigahash overclock that they're currently refining, and it sounds like they want to make it a little bit more stable. Some customers didn't have maybe some like good silicone lottery. It sounds like it's a little more intense to run the 360 gigahash version. Different tolerances for the KS0 Pros exist. So they're still working on making sure it's nice and stable. So there's going to be an enthusiast solution to achieve 300 to 360 gigahash, and that hopefully will be coming out soon. So stay tuned to my YouTube channel and join my Discord. You'll get the information first that way. Let's go ahead and go back to the README files that are provided by T-Swift when you buy the overclocks, and we'll go ahead and follow those instructions and we'll get the overclock started. Okay, we're back at the README file, and step 1 is restore the miner to factory settings in the web interface or by pressing and holding the reset button and allow the miner to restart. So I'm going to go ahead and do it through the web interface. I'm just going to hit right here, restore factory settings, and we'll give it a minute and let the miner do its thing and restart all the way. Confirm factory reset, okay, and boom, we'll just wait a little while. Okay, you've done your factory reset, and I know for sure it worked because this is Iceriver's address, not my wallet. So I know that the factory reset worked. So we're gonna go to the next step. We're gonna upload the init file into the firmware upgrade menu, and then we're gonna restart again. So you're gonna go to the firmware upgrade menu, you're gonna hit select a file, and it'll take you back into your overclocks that you got from T-Swift, and you're going to click on this init KS0 Pro update BGZ file. You're going to click open, and it's going to say fake path. Don't worry, that is normal. That's totally fine. And you're going to hit update, and it's going to take about 20 seconds, and then we will move on to the next step. So the next step is to upload the firmware with your desired overclock settings and then restart again. So the following sequence is recommended. It looks like here, start with the 280G_L file. So let's go ahead and upload the 280G_L file, and we'll see what happens. We're back in the firmware section of the web GUI. We're gonna hit select file, and we're gonna upload the 280G_L file. Click on it, hit open. Remember, it'll say fake path, and then we'll hit update, and we will see what happens. Okay, about 20 seconds later, operation succeeded, hit OK, and we will restart the machine, and then we will watch and see how the temps are and what kind of hash rate we get. Let's check it out. Okay, so far things are looking good. It's been running about 6 minutes, and I am getting, so far, 265 gigahash per second. And check out T-Swift's new upgraded banner off to the side with his contact information. Pretty sweet, T-Swift. All right, so the instructions, README instructions say that you should apply your pool settings and your address, of course, that you want to mine to, and set the fan speeds to 100% and observe the hash rate. You can change the fan speeds down later if you need to, depending on your temperatures and everything like that. So let's go ahead and check in the miner settings right now. With the fans that I have set up that you saw earlier, the internal fans are at 25%. So it seems like my temperatures are fine with the fans as I have them. My exhaust temp, 59 degrees, and my intake temp, 33 degrees. But I'm going to go ahead and do what they say to do. I'm going to turn the internal fans up to 100% manually, and that way I know for sure I'm getting good cooling throughout the whole process. It's only been running 8 minutes, but everything's looking really good. I'm gonna give it a little more time, and we will see how our hash rate is after about 30 minutes, and we'll check the temperatures again. Okay, I'm pulling about 158 watts, and my 30-minute average hash rate is 257 gigahash per second. So I'm gonna go ahead and try the 280G file, and we'll see what we get after about half an hour. So to save time, I'm just going to show you what I landed on. I ended up going through each of the files one at a time, and I ended up doing hard resets in between each file. And that way I know I'm starting fresh. All the way back at a factory reset, I held the button down on the back of the machine for about 25 seconds to make sure it reset in between each of these overclocks. Not 100% sure if it's necessary, but set aside my OCD, that way I know for sure it reset. So anyway, check out these results. I landed on the 270G file, and I FAFO'd with my fans, and I ended up getting my cooling much better, and I think that seemed to be a limiting factor for me. Earlier in the video you saw my exhaust temps for 55. That seems to be okay for a stock KS0 Pro, but to overclock it, I would recommend doing whatever you need to do to get the temps cooler. So I've been letting this run. It's been an hour and 50 minutes now. I am getting a 30-minute average hash rate of 283 gigahash per second, and that's on the 270G file, 0% pool rejection rate. And yeah, it's looking good, guys. Let's go ahead and check the temperatures, and I'll show you what I'm getting there. Okay, so I am getting 34 degrees on the intake temperature, and don't forget that is temp 2 on the KS0 Pro. For some reason the intake temperature, they're flipped around, and then temp 1 I'm getting 44 degrees Celsius. I have the internal fan set to 100% like they recommend in the instructions. Eventually maybe I can turn those down, but I kind of like having the extra insurance of just having them run. They're not very loud. They're running in the background right now, you can barely hear them. So anyway, that's where my temperatures are. Overall, I'm very happy with these overclocks. I have had to FAFO a little bit, and maybe you guys will too, but it's totally worth it. Once I got everything dialed in, it's been running nice and smooth. I'm getting over 280 gigahash, sometimes 290 gigahash per second, and I'm not the only one. I've seen some pretty good results in my Discord. Other people are getting up to 300 gigahash and more. It just depends on your silicone lottery and your setup. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, please consider subscribing to my channel, hitting the like button and then the notification bell, and don't forget to keep it decentralized for the greater good.
The greater good.